Georgia fighting back now after a federal judge's ruling to block parts of the state's tough new immigration law that was expected to go into effect in just days. The judge blocking parts of the law that would penalize people who transport or harbor illegal immigrants, and a provision that authorizes officers to verify the immigration status of someone who can't provide proper ID. Georgia's governor vowing now to appeal. Jordan Cekalo, Director of International Operations for the American Center for Law and Justice, is my guest on this topic. Good to see you.
Thanks, Gretchen.
All right, so when I'm looking at what this judge threw out, what's left in this law? Anything?
Two big things are left. E-Verify, which requires employers in Georgia with more than 10 employees to run those employees through a federal system that was set up to use voluntarily. Arizona was the first state to say we're going to mandate corporations to do it. Georgia said we're going to mandate it if you have more than 10 employees, and that stands because the Supreme Court just weighed in on that a month ago. It's still big news. Listen, the ACLU, the group challenging this law, the Obama administration, they're against that as well. So there still is a victory here for those who are support these kind of laws at the state level.
All right. Well, the Georgia governor, Nathan Deal, is not happy about the situation because he signed this into law in its entirety. Here was his quote. Curiously, the court writes all illegal aliens will leave Georgia if the law is enforced, as if it is appalled at the thought of people attaining visas before coming to our nation. The federal court's ruling, however, will crystallize for Georgians and other Americans our underlying problem. Beyond refusing to help with our state's illegal immigration problem, the federal government is determined to be an obstacle. Georgians can rest assured that this battle doesn't end here. We will appeal this decision. Is he right?
He's absolutely right. I mean, this is a point we've gotten to in law where a judge, now this was a Clinton appointee, so a Democrat appointee, and I predicted early on in this one it would probably go this way just like Arizona, Indiana, and Utah already have, but this is just the beginning of the legal process. But that statement is so ridiculous that that's part of the judge's reasoning, that people who are violating the law will leave if we enforce the law. This is the whole debate surrounding what do we do with immigration and illegal aliens when our federal government admittedly does not have enough resources to help the states, and then at the same time will step in to stop the states from being able to enforce the law. Make no doubt about it, the Obama administration is on the side of the ACLU here, just like they were in Arizona. They want to stop states from being able to enforce any of these laws. Thankfully, E-Verify is through. That's settled. And I do think long-term this will get appealed to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. The Georgia law is not as restrictive as Arizona's. I think it has a good chance when it makes its way to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Interesting, because it's always, it's a civil liberties group in this situation, too, that filed the lawsuit because they claim that it would encourage racial profiling. But here's my question for you. How does penalizing people who knowingly and willingly transport or harbor illegal immigrants while committing another crime, is that racial profiling?
Not at all. That doesn't have to do with whoever that person's race is. They still, by the way, in part of this law that was upheld, if you use false documents, you can go to jail, face fines of over $200,000. Those would be the people, by the way, that were of the origin of the countries that people would be suspecting of racial profiling. When it comes down to these people transporting, knowingly, inducing illegal immigrants to come and work at lower wages, somehow those people would be racial profiling. What the judge said here was that if we allow the local law enforcement, state law enforcement to do it, this will be a mini immigration system that will be established in Georgia. The truth is these people are committing crimes. That's why we have police to stop crime prevention. We have a justice system to then punish those people who have committed crimes. These are not new crimes. They're all already on the books in the federal government, but they don't want the states enforcing it, even though they've admitted that they don't have enough resources to do the job. I mean, the whole issue is a major battle between the state and federal role in immigration.
So ultimately, do these four states then, do those four states' cases all go to the Supreme Court together for an ultimate ruling, or what happens?
It could happen that way. Alabama, the ACLU is about to sue Alabama as well, which has a similar, probably the most stringent of those five now, and there's other states looking at it. So the court absolutely could put these cases together after the appeals process. And listen, the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals is more conservative than the 9th Circuit, where Arizona is. So they may say, you know what, we're going to reverse this injunction, let the law go into force. If they don't, Still, this is only at the injunction level, no hearing on the merits. So it's a long way to the U.S. Supreme Court. Unfortunately for the people of Georgia and Arizona and Indiana and Alabama, if that lawsuit gets filed and an injunction gets issued, it will be, it could be years until they can start enforcing the laws against illegal immigration. The idea that it's a bad thing if people leave because we enforce the law is the entirely wrong way to look at illegal immigration. If we go down that path, we'll never win on this issue.
All right, Jordan Sekulow, thanks for explaining it. It's very complicated.